Welcome and listen to me right now. Stop scrolling because I am serious and look at your pocket change right now. I'm talking about the 2001 Trinity of Treasure hiding in plain sight. We've got the Gateway to Freedom glitch that escaped the Mint's death grip. The first flight freak show where errors soar higher than the right. Brothers ever dreamed? And the Ocean State. Shipwreck coin that's sinking bank accounts with its missing clad layer fortune. Is your quarter a worthless piece of metal or a golden ticket to a billionaire's playground? This is Legacy Coins USA, where we turn your piggy bank junk into verified jackpots. Smash that subscribe button before you accidentally spend a down payment on a mansion for a cup of coffee. Let's start right now. Coin number 1.
Please listen to me very clearly. I am saying to the 2001 New York Gateway to Freedom Quarter, a coin that sits at the intersection of massive circulation numbers, common pocket change, and the very real, feverish world of high-stakes era coin hunting. While the viral videos and clickbait headlines promise $1 million payout and a ticket to unimaginable wealth, simply for holding a 2001 New York State quarter, the true story requires a jeweler's loupe and a heavy dose of numismatic reality. The coin you are holding, with its iconic depiction of the Statue of Liberty superimposed over the outline of the Empire State, inscribed with Gateway to Freedom, is undeniably a masterpiece of American minting history. Officially unveiled on January 8, 2001, by U.S. Treasurer Mary Ellen Withrow and Governor George E. Pataki, this quarter was the 11th release in the wildly popular 50-state quarters program. The design pays deep homage to New York's role as the entry point for millions of immigrants, with lines tracing the Hudson River and Erie Canal carved into the state outline as a last-minute addition by Governor Pataki to honor the state's commercial development. In terms of pure sentiment and historical imagery, it is a grand slam, but in terms of financial weight, the overwhelming majority of the 655 million clad coins minted in Philadelphia are worth exactly 25 cents. This is the part of the story where the dramatic, viral narrative collides with the cold, hard facts of mintage and metallurgy. Let us address the $1 million elephant in the room immediately. Your standard 2001 New York quarter is composed of a copper-nickel-clad sandwich, 91, 67% copper, and 8.33% nickel, and it is not silver, despite what misleading eBay listings or social media myths suggest about star-style silver coins. The U.S. Mint did not produce this coin for general circulation in silver. The only silver versions of this design were the specially minted 90% silver-proof sets sold directly to collectors from the San Francisco Mint, bearing an S Mint mark, of which only 889,697 were produced. Those San Francisco proof coins are beautiful and contain precious metal, but even in perfect condition, their value hovers between $30 and $60, hardly a fortune capable of making you a billionaire overnight. If you find a 2001 New York quarter in your pocket change or an old piggy bank, it is the standard clad coin, and unless it features a dramatic certifiable mint error, its value in circulated condition remains stubbornly between 50 cents and $3. Even if you manage to find one in the most pristine, untouched, high-end mint state, MS67 condition, the market has only ever valued it between $15 and $45. The path to millionaire status does not run through a regular 2001 quarter. However, the allure of the Gateway to Freedom coin as a life-changing artifact is not entirely a myth. It is just hiding in the microscopic margins of error. The real treasure hunt lies not in the coin's face, but in its flaws. The U.S. Mint produced over 655 million of these coins in Philadelphia alone, and in that massive industrial process, machines broke, dies cracked, and planchets, the blank metal discs, misbehaved. This is where the $1 million dream finds its only factual, albeit much more modest, anchor. The most dramatic and visually striking errors are the off-center strikes and broad strikes. An uncentered broad strike occurs when the retaining collar fails, allowing the metal to spread wildly outward, often obliterating the reeded edge and creating a strange, smooth, alien-looking disc. Collectors and forums are filled with people discovering these oddities. One enthusiast described their 2001 New York piece as having no nicks or reeding around the edge. a classic sign of being struck out of collar. While experts on these boards cautioned that heavily circulated examples might only fetch $10 to $15, a pristine, uncirculated broadstrike or a coin missing 10–30% of its design off-center can certainly command $100 to $500 or more depending on the drama of the mistake. It is a thrilling discovery for a coin roll hunter, but it is a windfall of hundreds, not millions. For those who have been swept up in the viral drama of doubled dies and tripled lettering, the 2001 New York Quarter offers a cautionary tale of illusion versus reality. You may have read breathless forum posts from collectors claiming to see tripled die doubling on In God We Trust or the date on their 2001 P quarters, a visual glitch that sounds like a ticket to a major auction house. The numismatic community, however, is quick to douse this flame with technical clarity. Due to the modern single-squeeze minting process implemented by the U.S. Mint around this era, true double dies on state quarters are exceedingly rare compared to the classic eras of the 20th century. What most people see with the naked eye or a cheap magnifying glass is mechanical doubling or die deterioration, a flat shelf-like smearing of the metal caused by a loose die, not a genuine double die hub. True double die obverses DDO or reverses DDR do exist, such as the famous extra trees on the 2005 Minnesota Quarter, and they can be worth $75 to $150 in high grade. But for the New York issue, unless you have a certified, stark doubling of the lettering that is recognized by a third-party grading service like NGC or PCGS, the error is likely worthless machine noise. The market is flooded with clickbait videos, but the reality is that a legitimate major double die for this coin is a $40 to $300 anomaly, not a retirement fund. Most valuable and genuinely rare connection to this coin is not the coin itself, but the original government packaging that celebrated its birth. The true collector's item that changes fortunes in the context of this series is the 2001 New York official first-day coin cover. Issued by the U.S. Mint in a strict limited edition of just 100,000 units, these covers feature two New York quarters, one from Philadelphia and one from Denver, taken from the very first day of mintage, December 11, 2000. They are mounted on a handsome display card alongside a 34-cent Statue of Liberty stamp and postmarked January 2, 2001, Albany, New York, certifying the exact moment the coin was released to the public. Sold originally for $19.95, these sets have quietly matured into highly sought-after pieces of Americana. While this is not the unimaginable wealth promised by social media hype, it is a verifiable, appreciating asset. It is the difference between a piece of circulated pocket metal and a curated piece of history. Ultimately, the saga of the 2001 New York Gateway to Freedom Quarter is a lesson in numismatic literacy masked as a treasure hunt. The story you see online, the one promising millions and billion-dollar valuations for a coin you found in a parking lot, is a fiction born from the conflation of state quarters with truly rare American numismatic treasures. The quarters that have sold for the price of a mansion are a different breed entirely. The 1796 draped bust quarter, the first ever minted, which sold at auction for a staggering $1.74 million, or the asterisk 1823/2 capped bust asterisk with its overdate era, which commands over $250,000. Even the famous 1932 D. Washington Quarter, the holy grail of modern collecting, tops out around $143,750 in top condition. These coins are scarce because their original mintages were tiny fractions of the $655 million produced for New York in 2001. The 2001 P New York Quarter is a victim of its own success. It was too well made, too numerous, and too modern to ever be scarce. So should you take a moment to check your collection, your old piggy banks, and that pile of coins in the corner? Absolutely. But do not do it looking for a silver coin that will make you a billionaire overnight. Do it looking for the freak accident. The coin with the crescent-shaped clipped edge worth $200, the piece with the ghostly extra image from a double strike worth $300, or the grease-filled die that erased the P mint mark worth perhaps $500. The true value of the 2001 New York quarter lies not in the metal composition, which is mundane, or the mintage, which is astronomical, but in the captivating, albeit rare, story of human and mechanical error. It is a lottery ticket where the jackpot is a few $100s and the real prize is the joy of the hunt itself. Do not spend the error coins, but feel free to use the regular ones for laundry, because in this case, the gateway to freedom is not a gateway to wealth, but a gateway to the endlessly fascinating, gritty reality of American coin collecting. So don't skip video, because next coin very important, he has changed your life. Listen to me very closely, brace yourself, because the story of the 2001 North Carolina First Flight quarter is not what those viral videos and clickbait headlines have led you to believe. You are holding a coin that captures one of the most triumphant moments in human history, the instant the Wright brothers broke the bonds of gravity at Kitty Hawk. The design is pure kinetic poetry, the Wright flyer soaring across the face of the coin, with Orville and Wilbur Wright flanking the aircraft, one of them immortalized in the very act of seeing his creation take flight. The inscription, First Flight, anchors the drama of December 17, 1903, when a rickety contraption of wood, fabric, and sheer audacity stayed aloft for 12 seconds and changed the world forever. It is, aesthetically and historically, a masterpiece of the U.S. Mint's 50-state quarters program. But here is where the deep, dramatic, and potentially painful truth crashes into the fantasy. This coin, for all its glory, is not made of silver, and it is absolutely not worth $18 million. The dream of unimaginable wealth and becoming a billionaire overnight from this specific piece of pocket change is a mirage, but it is a mirage with a fascinating, if much more modest, loophole. Let's immediately dissect the viral illusion of the $1 million coin. The claim that a 2001 P North Carolina quarter is worth $18 million is a fabrication born from confusing modern, mass-produced currency with the rarest numismatic artifacts of the 18th and 19th centuries. The coins that command prices in the stratosphere, like the 1796 draped bust quarter that sold for $1.74 million, or the legendary 1804 silver dollar, share one common trait: they are impossibly scarce. By contrast, the United States Mint at Philadelphia stamped out an eye-watering 627,600,000 of the 2001 P North Carolina quarters. The Denver Mint added another 427,876,000. When you produce over $1 billion of something, scarcity goes out the window, and with it goes the concept of a six-figure valuation. The metal composition confirms this reality. Your coin is a copper-nickel-clad sandwich, 75% copper, 25% nickel, not a precious silver ingot. It was designed to be durable pocket change, not a treasure chest liner. In average circulated condition, the kind you find wedged in a parking meter or under a sofa cushion, the value is stubbornly glued to its face, 40 cents to perhaps $1 or $2 on a generous day. If the coin is in pristine, untouched condition, what collectors call mint state, the numbers do climb, but they never approach the Hollywood fantasy of millions. The definitive numismatic reference, the CPG, Coin Dealer Newsletter Price Guide, tracks these values with surgical precision. A coin-graded MS-66 might fetch around $4.05 *. A virtually perfect MS-67 jumps to a more respectable $10.80. And if you are among the lottery winners who found a coin so flawless that it grades an almost unheard-of MS-69, the book value skyrockets to *880, 00 ***. Now, let's pause on that number. $1,880 is a fantastic return on a 25-cent investment. It is a thrilling, adrenaline-pumping discovery for a coin roll hunter. It could buy you a nice vacation or a new set of tires, but let's be crystal clear, it is not $18 million. The gap between $1,880 and $18 million is not a bridge. It is the distance from the sand dunes of Kitty Hawk to the surface of the moon. The viral mass that turns pocket change into a billion-dollar fortune is a fantasy built on misplaced zeros and willful ignorance of mintage figures. So what about the true Holy Grail? What about the version of this coin that actually does change your fortune, if not to billionaire status, then to something that still makes your heart race when you check that pile of coins in the corner. The answer lies not in the perfect coin, but in the broken, mangled, and flawed one. The real treasure in the First Flight series is the off-center error. In the chaos of the Philadelphia Mint, where hundreds of coins are struck per minute, planchets, the blank metal discs, sometimes slip out of alignment. When the massive dies come crashing down with tons of pressure, they strike the coin partially off the metal blank. The result is a freakish, oddly shaped quarter where part of the design is cut off, often leaving a crescent of blank, silvery metal on one side. The collecting community buzzes with discussions about these oddities, specimens described as having no reading or a broad-struck appearance where the metal spread like a pancake instead of being constrained by the collar. Error coins are the true tickets to unimaginable wealth in the context of the 2001 North Carolina series. But let's manage expectations with brutal honesty, because that is what separates smart collectors from victims of hype. A minor off-center strike, where perhaps 5% of the design is missing, is a curiosity worth maybe $20 to $50. A dramatic error, where 20%, 30%, or even 40% of the coin is a blank, flat expanse of copper nickel with the date and "In God We Trust" sliced off by the misstrike, becomes a genuine collector's prize. These dramatic, uncentered broad strikes can command $200, $500, or in extreme cases of visual drama, north of $1,000 at auction houses like Heritage or Great Collections. This is the money that pays for a mortgage payment or wipes out credit card debt overnight. It is a life-changing event for the average person, but it is a far cry from the $18 million fantasy sold by internet charlatans. The value is in the error, not the standard issue. You might be staring at your coin right now, convinced you see the fabled double die error. The forums are littered with hopeful souls who see a ghostly shadow on the letters of North Carolina or the edge of the Wright Flyer's wing. But we must address the ghost in the machine doubling versus true double die. The modern minting process, particularly the single squeeze method used in 2001, makes true double dies on state quarters exceedingly rare. What most people see with a magnifying glass is machine or mechanical doubling, a flat, shelf-like smearing caused by a loose die vibrating during the strike. It is a technical flaw, but it is not a collectible error with a premium. While the famous 2005 Minnesota Extra Trees quarter is a legitimate $100 plus double die, the 2001 North Carolina issue has no such widely recognized major double die variety certified by NGC or PCGS that commands massive premiums. Unless your coin is slabbed and authenticated as a true DDO/DDR by a top-tier grading service, the doubling you see is likely the ghost of a machine vibration, haunting your dreams of riches but worthless in the market. To understand why this coin, and others like it, are caught in a web of viral misinformation, you have to understand the psychology of the piggy bank gold rush. The story of the most expensive and valuable quarter worth millions is a perfect narrative virus. It combines a familiar object, everyone has a quarter jar, with a tantalizing zero-effort path to wealth. It taps into the same lottery ticket endorphin rush that keeps people buying Powerball tickets. The headline, "Check Your Change, You Might Have $18 million, is optimized not for truth, but for clicks, shares, and audience engagement. It works because we want to believe that the system has accidentally gifted us a fortune, but the numismatic truth is a sobering, yet still exciting, reality check. The true value of this coin is not in its standard form. The US Mint made sure of that by making so many of them that the market is permanently flooded. Therefore, if you have a pile of coins in the corner, an old piggy bank, or a forgotten collection in the attic, do not throw that 2001 North Carolina quarter back into circulation. But not because it's worth a fortune as a shiny, normal coin. Take that moment to look at it with new eyes. Look past the Wright brother who's gazing up at the plane. Look at the edge. Is the reading, the little ridges missing? Look at the alignment. Is George Washington's profile cut off at a strange, sharp angle? Is there a huge crescent of blank metal where the design should be? That is where your fortune hides. The standard coin is 25 cents. The pristine, graded MS-69 coin is a cool $1,880. But the ugly, mangled, mistake coin, the one that looks like the mint screwed up. That is the piece of American history that might pay for your next vacation. The final viral-worthy analysis, the 2001 North Carolina First Flight Quarter, is a powerful metaphor for the American dream it depicts. The Wright brothers didn't achieve flight by waiting for a perfect off-the-shelf solution. They succeeded by embracing the crashes, the broken parts, and the errors that occurred on the sands of Kitty Hawk. Similarly, your financial flight with this coin depends entirely on it being broken. It is not the perfect, shiny coin that changes your fortune overnight. It is the flawed one. It is the off-center strike, the broad strike, or the missing reeded edge. So by all means, search those drawers and piggy banks with the fervor of a prospector panning for gold. The treasure is real, but it is not in the perfection. It is in the beautiful, profitable, and exceedingly rare wreckage of the minting process. Hold that ticket to unimaginable wealth in your hand and remember, the fortune isn't in the flight, it's in the crash. And if your coin isn't a crash site, spend it with pride. It still carries a beautiful piece of American history, even if it won't buy you a private jet. So please listen to me very deeply and hold that 2001 Rhode Island quarter in your palm. The one with the vintage sailboat slicing through Narragansett Bay, the majestic Pell Bridge arching across the horizon, and the proud inscription, the Ocean State, anchoring a legacy that stretches back to 1790, the year Rhode Island became the last of the original 13 colonies to ratify the Constitution. You are holding a coin that commemorates the birthplace of American religious freedom, a state founded by Roger Williams as a radical experiment in liberty of conscience. The design, crafted by Thomas D. Rogers, is a love letter to Rhode Island's nautical soul, honoring its identity as a maritime powerhouse where sailing is not merely a pastime but a birthright. Yet beneath the shimmering surface of this copper-nickel-clad disc, composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5.67 grams of pure American industry, lies a truth that is both sobering and strangely liberating. This coin, for all its historical weight and aesthetic grace, was never minted in silver. And the viral fantasy that it holds the key to an $18 million fortune, that it will transform you into a billionaire overnight, is a mirage as fleeting as the morning fog over Narragansett Bay. Let us confront the cold, hard arithmetic of the marketplace, for it is in these numbers that the real drama unfolds. The Philadelphia Mint, in the year 2001, churned out an absolutely staggering 423 million of these Rhode Island quarters. When you produce nearly 500 million of any object, the iron law of supply and demand crushes any hope of scarcity-driven wealth. The authoritative Newman Numismatic Portal, a definitive voice in coin valuation, paints a picture that would shatter the dreams of any clickbait believer. A circulated 2001p Rhode Island quarter, the kind you find wedged between couch cushions or gleaming up at you from a parking lot puddle, is worth exactly 40 cents. Even if you manage to pluck a coin from circulation so pristine that it qualifies as Mint State 65, the value climbs only to 75 cents. The ceiling for this coin in near-perfect MS67 condition, a modest $10.80. The absolute pinnacle, an MS68 specimen so flawless it appears to have been kissed by the gods of numismatics rather than the grinding machinery of the Philadelphia Mint, commands a mere $61. This is not a ticket to unimaginable wealth. This is a ticket to a decent lunch, perhaps, but certainly not a private island in the very Narragansett Bay depicted on its reverse. But do not despair, for this is where the narrative takes a delicious, dramatic turn, the kind of twist that separates the casual coin spender from the eagle-eyed treasure hunter. The fortune in the 2001 Rhode Island quarter does not reside in the standard coin. It lurks in the shadows of industrial chaos, in the broken, mangled, and gloriously defective specimens that somehow escape the Mint's quality control. The search results reveal a secret underworld of error coins that trade hands for sums that make the heart race. Consider the missing clad layer error, a manufacturing mishap where the outer nickel coating fails to bond, exposing the raw, coppery wound beneath. An NGC-certified MS63 example of this exact error on a 2001p Rhode Island quarter sold at Heritage Auctions for $159, while another hammered at $192. These are not million-dollar payouts, but they represent returns of 63,600% and 76,700% over face value, respectively, windfalls that can erase a month's rent or fund an unforgettable weekend. Then there is the Ragged Edge Clip, a coin struck on a defective planchet with a bite taken out of its rim, which sold for $43. The Reverse Cud ***, a hideous but valuable blob of metal that formed when a piece of the die broke off, fetched $63, and the doubled curved clips overlapping error commanded $53. These are the true lottery tickets hiding in plain sight, the flawed diamonds that transform pocket change into something genuinely meaningful. The drama deepens when we examine the psychological warfare being waged against the American public by viral misinformation. The claim that this quarter is worth millions, that it will make you a billionaire overnight, is not merely an exaggeration. It is a calculated narrative designed to generate clicks, shares, and ad revenue. The truth, as documented by the U.S. Mint's own press releases from May 2001, is that this coin was marketed and sold in two-roll sets and bags of 100 and 1,000 directly to collectors. The Mint proudly announced that the Rhode Island Quarter completed the commemoration of all 13 original colonies on circulating coinage for the first time in American history, a genuinely remarkable numismatic milestone. But nowhere in that official release, nowhere in the auction archives of Heritage or Great Collections, nowhere in the population reports of PCGS or NGC is there any evidence of a standard 2001 Rhode Island Quarter selling for anything remotely approaching $1 million. The most valuable Rhode Island Quarter documented in the search results is a 2001 missing clad layer error, not even a Philadelphia Mint issue. The market speaks with brutal clarity. Perfection buys you $61. Error buys you $192. Virality buys you nothing but disappointment. The anatomy of this coin reveals why the $1 million dream is structurally impossible. With a mintage of $423 million from Philadelphia alone, the 2001 Rhode Island Quarter is categorized by PCGS with a rarity rating of R10. In the numismatic lexicon, R1 means common in all grades, the polar opposite of rare. PCGS estimates that over 95 million examples survive in mint state condition, MS60 or higher, and nearly 48 million exist in gem condition, MS65 or higher. The grading service notes that while MS68 examples are scarce, thousands likely still sit undiscovered in original rolls and bags held by speculators who hoarded them 2 decades ago. This is not a treasure map to El Dorado, it is a census report of overwhelming abundance. The coin that truly changes your fortune is not this one. It is the 1796 draped bust quarter that sold for $1.74 million. It is the 1823 capped bust overdate that commands over $250,000. It is the 1932 Washington quarter, the undisputed key date of the modern era, which tops out at $143,750. These coins are valuable precisely because their mintages were tiny fractions of the 423 million Rhode Island quarters flooding the market. So what is the final, emotionally resonant lesson of the 2001 Rhode Island Ocean State Quarter? It is this: the value lies not in blind faith but in educated scrutiny. Do not throw this coin back into circulation, but do not seal it in a velvet-lined vault expecting it to fund your retirement either. Take that moment, the 5 minutes you've spent reading these words, and truly examine what you hold. Look at the sailboat, yes, and admire the artistry of the Pell Bridge. But then look at the edge. Is the copper core peeking through where the nickel cladding failed? That is your $159 payday. Look at the *** rim ***. Is there a ragged, curved bite missing from the circle? That is your $43 treasure. Look at the fields, the flat background behind the sailboat. Do you see a strange, raised blob of metal that does not belong? That is your $63 cud error. The fortune does not hide in perfection. It hides in the wreckage of the minting process, in the glorious mistakes that escape the burning gaze of quality control. If your coin is flawless and shiny, spend it on a coffee and savor the history it carries with it. But if it is broken, if it is strange, if it makes you ask, is this an error? Hold onto it with both hands. You may not have found $18 million. But you may have just found something far more satisfying, a genuine, verifiable, and valuable piece of American numismatic chaos. And in a world of 423 million identical coins, that singular imperfection is worth more than any viral fantasy. Thanks for watching this episode, and please subscribe to my channel. And get ready for next viral video for next day.